Hello everybody and welcome to Organian's Puzzle Box. In this first episode we are going to create our base mesh for the dragon sword, which I've personally named myself as the Dragon Sword of Melted Sins. The idea of this is just a twin sort of dragon that was made into a sword and melted metal was poured on top of it, and you can actually see the skin or flesh, burnt flesh coming out through the metal cracks of this encased environment that the dragon now finds itself. And its spine was used to create sort of like the handle. This is why it looks so rigid and rough and so on. So we're just in episode 1. We're gonna go through how to build the base mesh. Just going through easy techniques to follow, such as using mirroring, using symmetry, and just using a reference plane as something to go by and just put our sword together. And then it will be followed by more episodes on how to sculpt and unwrap and texture this model. So without any further delays, let's begin the tutorial. One thing to take note is that you should get the add-ons called F2 and Image 2 planes from Blender. You just go into preferences and just go to add-ons, and you can activate these two add-ons. They will definitely be useful for you. This tutorial is not meant for complete beginners. You must have some sort of knowledge of Blender, such as how to navigate the interface and what shortcuts to press in order to make things go a lot quicker and smoother. I do try to make everything as slow as possible. I am going to run at a very slow pace in order to get this done. This sword shouldn't take us more than 2 to 3 hours to make it overall, but obviously due to the nature of the tutorial this may take a bit longer than that. It really all depends. So without any further delays, let's begin. Okay, so now that we're in Blender, let's begin by bringing in our reference. We're just going to import an image as a plane, and I've got my files in a folder that I've created. Just make sure that you switch to shaded mode before you commence so you can see the texture. And we're also going to rotate this on the x-axis by 90 degrees like that, so the sword will be sitting upwards. And as we look at it, at the sword itself, we will notice one very important thing is that it's not symmetrical. And this, in order for this project to work quite smoothly, we will be doing it in a symmetrical way. So with the plane selected, I'm just going to add a mirror modifier, and then I'm going to select the x-axis and the bisect, which will then ensure that my plane is now symmetrical. That's fine. I'm just going to apply that modifier. So now we can add our plane, and again rotate on the x-axis by 90, and then let's just scale this bad boy down quite a lot, and let's bring it up here. Now, one thing you'll notice, if you move the object in edit mode, the pivot point will remain whatever it was. So that's fine, because we're going to do the pommel first, and we do want our pivot point to stay in the middle of the world. That's fine. And with this brought over here, we can now start doing one side of the pommel, and we'll mirror the other one. So we only want to do the big shapes. We don't want to worry about the small intricate shapes in this at the minute. We just want to do the big ones, and that's what we're going to focus on to begin with. So I'm just going to bring this over here. Gonna take these points like that, just gonna bring this into the corner of the tip, and just gonna bring these two this way, just making sure that they're equals. So I'm literally just gonna go down till about this point, let's say, and then with that done, I'm just going to just ensure that my points are sort of matching with how the shape is looking like, maybe around that point. And now I can just add a loop over here, and just really try and measure it, try and match it, and so on. I'm just gonna bring this above over here and just extrude, create this shape, that's going to cover the tip. And I'm just gonna select that point and just extrude. And obviously this is not fitting our shape very, very nicely, but that's fine. We'll just start adding in some loops here and there, to sort of mitigate that effect. Again, doing big shapes, right? We don't want to worry ourselves with anything but that at the minute. There's just no point, like I said. Okay, and now let's just extrude. Again, sometimes it may look like I'm not following my own advice, which is fine. You don't always see all the options to begin with. You first need to lay out the geometry, all the geometry, before you get better answers to your problem, and you know, that takes some time to get used to it. Now, one thing to note is that sometimes I do sort of I investigate the issue to begin with in advance, but sometimes I just sort of like get on with it, and I'll make my model without actually doing a lot of research beforehand, because I find that if you do that, you're being more spontaneous, but you're able to teach people more by encountering some issues that they may encounter when they do models on their own. So as you can see right now, I'm just trying to follow this form along here. Again, the resolution, I'm not using a big resolution on the polygon side of things, and that's mainly because I can add more loops if I want to, or I can smooth this mesh later on as well. Right now I just want to sort of keep a sort of nice flow going on, again balancing these out and just really adding geometry wherever I presume I will need to. Okay, so I'm just going to add a point over there and just really start building up on these shapes. I'm just going to bring this about this point. Doesn't look too great. I'm not exactly a big fan of the sort of the structure that I've done here, but in the end it should look fine. Again, we can balance this out a bit more if we need to. Sometimes I like to just maintain the same amount of polygons running across, and that's mainly a it's just an idea of mine. If you balance the left and the right accordingly, you should have a better topology, but it doesn't always look right, let me tell you. So there's definitely going to be some downsides to trying to do a solution to fit all of your needs. Right, so I've done all of that. What I want to do is for the sake of running this quicker, sometimes I just do this. I delete that loop over there, which obviously is wrong because I've now created an n-gon, but that's fine because I can then extrude these a lot quicker, and all I need to do is just add a loop here, and then with the knife tool I can connect these 2 points, which by the way I've made a terrible connection. Okay, so now I've done all of that. I don't necessarily like this point over here, which again that just means that I can sort of like readjust all of these points. Maybe something like that. Again, I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's very clean, so I'm just going to balance these a little bit out. Okay, yeah, that should be good enough somewhat. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but it's not too bad. Right, okay, so now that we have all of that done, I'm just going to press backspace on the keyboard in order to isolate my selection, and then just start extruding this out. So I'm going to just select all of these points over here, probably like that. Yeah, well actually I think I'm just going to take these as well, so all of these points and that, probably that as well, and I'm just going to bring them to the left like that, maybe around that point. It's all about how much do I want this to sort of what's the angle of this blade cut over here. So once that's done, which obviously it is right now, we can go over here and add a mirror modifier, and it's already mirroring on the x-axis. I'm also going to shade smooth my object so it looks a bit nicer. Okay, and I can also do a mirror on the I should be able to do a mirror on the y-axis, but Oh, sorry, it's the Z axis in this point. Yeah, okay. So I've got a mirror like that. If we activate the cage option, we should be able to see the wireframe on all of this, which is fine. And now I'm just going to select this edge, and you can see that we looped. Well, actually, I'm going to select these edges here and just delete the faces like that, which is going to make things a lot easier for me. So now I've selected that edge, and I want it to select all the way here to the top, and then I want to do the same thing here, you know, all the way to the bottom. And now we do a Control B for beveling, and we want to pull this out. Not really sure what's going on. Control B for beveling, come on. Actually, I know what's going on. We need to apply the mirror and now to bevel. You see, the mirror wasn't allowing it. It was literally beveling in inside a mirror, and it was mirroring itself by mirroring till forever. Okay, now we've got that done, and one of the nice things about this is that we can select this point and this point and just say press F on the keyboard to bridge it. And then we can select here and here and to bridge it as well, which is fine. I mean, we've got a bit of a triangle there, but nobody's going to suffer for it. It's not the the end of the world. So we're doing that here as well, which is fine. Okay, now up here we've done the same thing. We've got obviously a bevel, but it's not looking very okay. So I'm just going to delete these faces, and that one there at the top, going to select this edge with this one and just bridge, and now bridge again, and that looks okay. So over on this side, where I wanted my part to be quite thick, we're just going to do this. Now I'm not interested on the other side, and the reason for that is because I'm actually going to mirror it again. So go into edit mode, activate X-ray. For some reason it doesn't work right. I've got X-ray activated. I'm just going to select everything, so pretty much all the polygons, as you can imagine, and just delete the faces. And now at the same time I want to go, well, I did want to go on this side as well, but we're just going to keep it that way. Yeah, just two faces. So I'm just going to add a mirror, and the reason why I'm doing all of this is obviously because I want to have the same details on this side that I have on this side, but also because I'm going to only UV this side, and then that side will just be overlapping with each other. So you get a better, you get more texture space out of it, more textile density. Right, so that's our pommel pretty much resolved, I would say. If we go back to our reference, you can see that it's now made the point where it fits inside the handle. One thing that we do have though, and you can clearly see it, we've got an extension here, and I've not realized it. So I'm just going to select these, and I can't move them. So let me just deactivate the mirror. I'll probably have to delete all of these faces in here, and then just come along, you know, just try and match this up. So I'll do something like that. Select these points as well. By the way, go into X-ray mode so you can move both of them at the same time. We're probably gonna bring this point over as well. Okay, that's fine. We've got to do some extrusion magic here, so let's try and work that one out, shall we? Maybe like that. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to select these points and just merge at last. Merge at last. Okay. And now we can just select our point there. You see our edge, and let me just go into, you know, just to see what I'm doing, and that's it. Okay. Now that's now resolved, and we no longer have the triangle, which is great. Okay, and if we go back to, you know, have a look at the reference, it seems to be matching quite well. Again, if we want more density here, so make this thicker, that's fine. We can definitely do that. We're just going to have to work out, you know, we're just going to do a bevel, but just going to have to work out how big this is, you know, in terms of let me just, yeah, that looks okay. So in terms of you know, how thick it is and how sharp it is and so on, it's very important that you work these things out now, not later on. Right, okay, so that's the pommel, and now we're just going to move over to the handle. One of the things to note about this sword is that the pommel itself is good enough for the low poly. So we could use this as a low poly once we get our sculpt of a high poly. But the handle is going to be a lot more complicated because of all these sort of like little shapes that we're going to have on it. So we're probably going to do a remesh on that in ZBrush, use ZRemesher to get a proper low poly model out of it. So in order to start modeling our handle, we're just going to go and start creating another mesh. So we'll make a cylinder, and the cylinder is already rotated as we want it to be. I'm just going to bring it over here, maybe to about this point. One thing to note is that I do not want any caps. So we're just going to delete that face, Oh, one other thing that I've done about this cylinder is that it's got a lot of polygons into it. So I would be better off just by like literally deleting it. So mesh, cylinder. If you go in here, you can select the sizes. So we'll just do 16. That seems more sensible than 32. It's just 32 is just way too much for us to work with. This is as I said, mainly this won't really have any effect right now because we're going to do a remesh, but just so you know, it's better off to not have that many polygons. Right, okay, so we've got the cylinder over. I'm just going to go into edit mode, X-ray mode, and select all these vertices and just go above here. Again, we will want to increase the size so it matches sort of like the size of our cylinder from the reference. And then yeah, probably align it around that point, something like that. Maybe bring it down a bit more. Yeah, about that point. Again, it's probably just going to scale up over there, and what we want to do now is just bring it down. Okay, and at this point let's just add a loop and just bring it down here, select all of these and start sort of like increasing their size. So you extrude, increase size, extrude again, increase size, probably around that, extrude again, leave it at that point, then extrude again, go down, extrude again, go down, and you probably just have to stop at some point, probably around that should be fine. Okay, so this is our sort of our base for the handle. Now I want to add another loop probably around here and also increase the size of this. Okay, one thing that we also want to do is go into, let's just go into solo mode and then in solo mode let's just select two opposing sorry, I don't know what's selecting, but that's not selecting what I wanted to select. Right, let's just select two opposing edges like that and just bridge them, and now let's just do some bridging like that. Probably gonna do the same thing at the bottom, not very important, but still let's just cap our mesh. Okay, very quickly get out of isolation mode. So we've got these elements. Now what we've got also, we've got these elements over here, so these things coming out. What I would like to do there is just select some faces. So let's say we select these faces like that, only on one side. We don't care about the other side. We're just going to mirror it. It's very important to just play around with a mirror. Okay, and then we just extrude till about that point, and then just extrude again. Now at this point we just want to go down a bit, extrude again, go down. We just want to create our sort of basic shape of this. We don't want to be very accurate, there's no point. Again, just extrude, go down. So as long as we can match that shape, that's fine. Okay, and at this point again just select these, extrude outwards, something like that. We're just going to have to pretty much sculpt this in, so based on what we're seeing in our reference. So I'm not too worried about it. Let's just do something like that. Yeah, I think that's going to give us our shape overall of what we need to do. It's probably a bit bulky, but we can, however, select all of these points, so all of these polygons over here, that's fine, and just scale them down a bit, just like it shows in the reference. Especially this edge over here, you just want to squeeze it in there a bit more, like that. And just overall just select all of them and start squeezing that shape a bit more. Okay. Okay, also we may want to select some more over here. Again, just extrude like that. When we go into ZBrush, and we're obviously going to add all of the all of those effects, such as, you know, Dynamesh and stuff, this won't really matter what we're doing right now here. Okay, so now shade smooth again. If only I can find it. Right, shade smooth. And now we've got our shape done in that respect as well. Doesn't look amazing, doesn't look, it looks a bit quite weird. You can see that we've sort of like messed it up by going that side, so I'm just going to center it in here. That's fine. Again, it doesn't have to look perfect. Okay, so now that that's done, we can continue on with the blade, and then we'll do the head last. Okay, so let's get our handle deactivated, so now we can see our blade, and I'm going to add another plane. Again, rotate X90, scale it all down, scale it down, go over here and go into edit mode, and let's start putting this bad boy in. Now we want to have our blade probably starting around this point, because we want to cover, you know, we want the blade to go in as much as possible into the skull, so there's no real problems, or, you know, the handle itself. Now with that in place, we can start to add some geometry. So I'm probably thinking we go somewhere around that point, and then what I'm trying to do here is, you see, I'm trying to create this shape of this edge, because I like to start with these edges. I think they're so important. They just give the life, they just really breathe life into the overall shape of the sword. Without these edges, the sword just wouldn't look very, very nice. Okay, so we've got that. Again, we may want to revisit some of this topology later on. This is why these shapes are quite easy to make overall, because once you get the hang of it, like completely get the hang of it, not what I'm doing right now, because obviously you need to focus a bit more when you're doing this. It's a bit difficult when you're also talking and trying to explain, but once you get the hang of it, what's going to happen is you're going to realize how working with symmetry and working with mirror modifiers and stuff, how easy it is to just really complete projects and just get to the fun part, you know, because Blender is not too bad when it comes to things like retopology either, so you're not going to feel very frustrated on that. Now you see, I just did something on purpose here. I want to show you something that's going to be a bit of the bane of my existence in a way. I've added all these loop cuts here, and well, there's not loops, but more like edges, and this is going to affect me when I try to extrude, because obviously I've got so many extrusions to go through. As you can see, this is not exactly helpful. One thing that you can do is you can just extrude all the way to the bottom like that, and then just start bringing this over into probably around here, and then just add a few loop cuts, try to position them like that. Again, it's not going to be ideal, but you can start doing, you know, merge at last, yeah, and wherever you're seeing that you're obviously missing a loop, you just need to add one. So merge at last. This is generally not necessarily what I like to do, but for the purpose of this tutorial, you know, try to move things a bit quicker. I'm hoping I can move them quicker this way. You know, I'm just going to start moving some of these edges like that. Again, merge at last, and we just need another loop here, and merge at last, merge at last. I know I say that a lot, but it is what it is. Okay, so one thing that we want to do now is just sort of like, you know, position these into a more straight fashion. So it just makes a bit more sense. Again, there's multiple ways that you can do this, and there's no real right or wrong way. Well, I guess there are wrong ways, and probably this is not the most ideal, but it's not bad either. So we do have this shape now. We've got the what we need in order to add our thickness over here. If we need to do, you know, we can add more loop cuts over here if we want to add more thickness to multiple parts of the blade. Okay, so now we have this shape. So clearly this is ending over here, but we do have this one that just sort of like carries on downwards. And we can probably just add a loop over into here and just drag this on. We may want to add multiple just to create a bit more resolution. It's all about your polygon budget as well. Just bear in mind that polygons aren't as much of a problem now as it used to be. And now, before anybody starts bashing me straight off, just you know, just go and look at, I don't know, Grant Abbott's videos. He'll say the same thing. So don't kill me. That's saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. I know polygons are always going to be a concern overall, but it's just not what it used. It's just not what it used to be. Okay, that's what I'm just trying to say. Okay, so over in here, obviously the blade becomes smaller, so we may want to just add another loop cut, which sort of comes into line with this, as you can see here. So we can use that for even more detailing. And the reason why I'm doing that is because obviously I've got this sort of shape over here that I need to account for. So I can bring this over like that, and then this one like that. We're obviously going to need more resolution here, obviously. We want to make a nice sword, so we don't want to mess this up. Again, more resolution. The sword itself, we can probably use this as a low poly with a bit of, obviously with some tweaking. You can't just simply, it's not like the pommel. The pommel will probably fit like a glove, but this is not so perfect. Okay, just select this, and we can probably go down till about this point, in which we need to extrude again just to maintain that shape. Probably just do that. And then at this point we will be sort of tightening our blade. So as you can see, it's sort of like coming to an end here. And this is where things can get a bit tricky, because you've got these 2 points that will merge, and you want this one to end on the tip. Probably this one just a little bit like that. It's not going to look just like in the reference, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is. Let's just drag this on, and then hopefully we can work something out. Hopefully it won't be much of a problem, and the purists are not going to kill me for it. Yeah, okay, let's just see what we have. This is good. This is not looking too bad. Let's just see what we have for our model. Okay, so let's just isolate our blade, and let us select all of these faces till about here. Yeah, well, this edge included. We also want to add another loop right here. Yeah, and now I've deselected everything. Okay, and with all of that selected, let's just go, you know, about that point, something like that. Yeah, okay. And now let's just select, you know, this edge, so this edge only. Yeah, and let's push it back just a tiny bit, but not to the center, just almost. Or actually we could potentially just take it to the center. You know, just this could potentially just go, you see, if you do that, if you put 0, it will just go back to the center. Okay, and we can potentially just select all of these as well, you know, these points, and we could probably just take them a little bit, but not too close. Yeah, something like that. So you get a bit of a stair sort of effect, you see. Yeah. Okay. Now hopefully this is looking okay. Okay, now we've got this side here, which again is nothing that we need to do as of yet. This is where the blade is being affected by some, you know, well, based on a reference, it's got this leather. So again, let me just have a look when I can add another loop, when I need to add it right about here. Okay. And we can now select all of these faces. I said faces, come on. So all of these faces till this point, yeah. And let's just bring this outward, maybe something, maybe like that. Okay. And I think that should be it. Let's just have a look at it now. Okay, the only way that you can see what's gone off here is if we start playing with the mirror modifier. So let's just add a mirror. This obviously is going to multiply it on the other side, and then we'll just do a z-axis as well, which in theory it should give us you know, on both sides it should give us a model. Now what you're seeing here in the middle is just the effect of these points just not being close enough. So we're just going to have to fix that. So when you do, let's just do some, well, let's just increase our no, that's not good. Let's just keep it at 0.1 because we've got things that are quite close. So actually 0.01, not 0.1. So 0.01. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to get these things into each other. So, you know, as we select points, you can see now that we're just merging them together. You can see that, yeah. Okay, is it all merged? Hopefully. I mean, we can also use merge by distance, but it's still going to be quite a bit tedious to do because all these points are so close to each other, yeah. Okay, so I've done that there as well, just selecting these final points. Oh, come on. Okay, and just these points. And I'm not sure what's going on here in the center. Probably nothing good, am I right? Okay, so I've got all of that done. Hopefully it's not too bad in terms of how the shape is made. See, we've got a bit of a problem here, so that's fixed it. I should have fixed it. Okay, yeah, looking at this should be fine. I'm just going to save my file now, just so I've got a backup from where to pick up, and then we're just going to go on cleaning this up a little bit. So we need to do a bit of fixing. Like I've said, this part over here we haven't actually extruded in any way, so I need to get to the bottom of it, you know, just delete all of these faces like that, and that's a clean deletion, you know, I've deleted it quite cleanly there, so that's fine. And all we want to do is we want to select, well, we can select all of these and just extrude them down and connect them, or just you know, simply select these two edges here, well, this edge, and just do that bridge. That's fine, it can work okay. But we do have obviously a change here in the dynamics. So what I want to do, let's just delete these faces. I want to be able to bevel this edge a little bit, because there's no sword in existence that is not, you know, beveled a little bit. Now we do have a bit of a problem over here. So if we go back to our sort of original, you know, over here onto our reference, I'm just going to select all these polygons and just delete them, because I think that they're working against me and I don't like polygons working against me. So, okay, I'm just going to select these, okay, and just extrude upwards like that, and that's about it really. Oh, I'm just going to take this point and just bring it down. Okay, now that I've done that, I can safely select this edge and this edge. No, without that edge, we don't need that edge. Let's just do this one first, and we're just going to bevel Let me just see if it's actually happening. Is it? Oh, beveling again with the mirror on. It's never going to be a good idea. So let's just add the mirror. Now we can safely bevel. We're just going to bevel, I don't know, just a little bit, probably like that. Yeah, that should be fine. So this ensures that our our edge of the sword isn't as sharp as 0.0001. Okay, so we've got this edge over here selected. At this point, actually, you know what, just select everything like that and just delete it. We want only half of it. We only want half the problem, so to speak. Okay, and we've obviously going to have a bit of a hard time here. So I have beveled, but how does this look like? It's probably not looking too great, you know what I mean? It's probably not looking too good. So I'm just going to delete those faces completely. Gonna go into vertex mode, gonna bring back my reference for this bad boy here, and I'm just going to extrude it down and just merge at merge at center. Gonna bring this down like that. Okay, and just going to add, see, this is why I shouldn't have merged. I need to bring another loop somewhere around here, and now I can merge at center. Again, can't believe that I'm doing this, right? Unreal. Maybe you guys haven't noticed this, but I'm the kind of person who likes to get results done. You know, likes to get results quickly. I don't like to mess around with, you know, pointless things. Put myself some massive, you know, barriers. So I just want to get the job done. I'm going to rebalance my mesh, make sure that it's all nice, you know, follows a nice curve and so on. The more resolution you add here, by the way, the better your sword is going to look like overall, you know. And again, you can see over here that we're not getting our the best you know, the best curve on our blade, so we can just play around with it a little bit, just try and get that curve looking a bit better. Okay, and you see here as well, we can just bring that up a little bit. Okay, and probably we can add another one here, and just, yeah, okay. So now that we have that, we can connect these two parts. So again, like I've said before, select, and yeah, this is a bit of a tricky one because, okay, let's just do one at a time. So I've got that one there. I have no idea where my screencast keys have gone to, but I'll just reactivate them. There we go. So select that, bridge it, and then select this as well and bridge it. Okay. So now, how do we go about with this? Because this point, we want this point to end over here. That's you know, that's crucial. That needs to happen there. Okay, so because of that, it should be quite straightforward in terms of, you know, we add another bridge over here like that, and then we add another bridge over here as well like that, and then at that point we take this, okay, and this is the end point right here, and we can bridge it, okay. But unfortunately this doesn't quite look exactly the same. So what do? Do we just add maybe we have like a loop sort of thing here, okay, and we select all these edges and we try to scale down on the Y axis, okay. So now we get a bit of a difference there. Over in here we probably need to add another loop as well. Just select these edges only, or maybe just the points, you know, these points, and just scale down on the only the Y axis, Okay. So now we get a bit of, you know, a bit of that shape that we've got in there. Obviously, this is not necessarily a shape that's missing in, and don't get me wrong, this shape is still bulky, right? So you may think that I've made it too thin, but what's going to happen, what we're going to sculpt, we're going to add detail on this, so it's going to thicken it up on both ends, and then we just need to retopologize in this particular scenario. Okay, so at this point we want to add another mirror modifier, which is just on the x-axis on that side, and we can see that it's clearly blending quite well. Let's just activate the cage to ensure that's right. Okay, so I like what, you know, I like how this is looking like. It should be fine. We're just going to bring the handle over. So we've got the handle, which again we do want to now delete. You know, delete on this side. Let's just go into faces and delete, and I'm not sure what's going on here. Huh. Right, okay, so we did have a problem with those faces. We shouldn't have closed the loops. That's fine. You know, we'll just close them. Nah. Yeah, let's just see how that looks like. So I'm just gonna add a mirror modifier, and yeah, it should be fine. I know they're obviously overlapping here and so on, but who really cares? We're just remeshing this, aren't we? So that should be fine. Okay, so we've got the blade, we've got the handle, we just need the skull now, you know, the dragon skull, and we're going to do that next. Okay, so let's just select our plane and get it to be the only thing that's in our viewport. And now we need to start building up on the skull. And wouldn't you know it, it starts with a plane, and we're going to rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees and really shrink this guy down. Go into edit mode, move it, shrink it, and just bring it over here. So what I want to do now is we want to be a bit loose on this, and the reason why I'm saying that is because there's no way that you can do this without remeshing it after, or retopologize, or whatever you want to call it, right? So I'm just going to bring some points like this. Again, just trying to work on the big shapes, nothing else, just big shapes to begin with. Balance it out to follow the cheekbones and whatever the hell these are, because it's a dragon. We don't really know the specifics of it. So let's, oh, not that. So just bring this in like that. Okay, increase the size here, make it a bit more, because obviously it's got the mouth and so on. This is a bit of a stylized dragon, by the way, so you know it's not exactly accurate, is it? So, well, accurate. Dragons are fantasy creatures and not meant to be accurate anyway. Okay, so we've got that there, that shape in like that, quite simple. Now we want to bring it over here, and now we want to split it so we can continue doing this shape. Maybe add another one over in here, and then just go something like that. Bring it above, bring it like that. Okay. Oh. You can see that I'm sort of like going quite quickly through this, and that is the main reason for that is because we don't need a particularly fantastic mesh. We just need our base, so you know we can work with our base on this. Okay, so we've got the sort of like part of the head in there, and now we just want to add some horns. Okay, and once we add the horns, we're just going to start solidifying the head itself. So adding a solidify modifier like that, we're just going to offset it to 1 and then do a 0.3 maybe. Is that gonna be enough? No, need a lot more thicker, don't we? So let's just do a 0.5 for now, that should be fine. Okay, and then we're going to add a mirror modifier X and Z axis think we need more thickness. Yeah, let's do a 1 thickness on both ends. That's fine. And I'm just gonna apply both of these. If that's, you know, well, actually no, we're not going to apply we're just going to apply the solidify, but we're just going to leave the mirror for now. And what we want to do also is to add the horns. Looking at our, you know, our sort of mesh over there, you know, our reference, we can just bring the horn make it from a cylinder, and we just got to ensure that it starts from this point, again moving it and scaling it in edit mode so that the pivot point remains the center of the world. We can just sort of x-ray it so we can see what we're doing and just bring it about right here where it should be starting off to. Now we can select these points, extrude, rotate, you know, extrude again. Maybe I shouldn't have done that a second extrusion there, because now I've got to mess around with the mesh. Try and scale down as you go along so that you can sort of better capture the shape of the horn. The photo is not quite visible, so I would definitely go a bit looser here. I wouldn't really care about that the details that much. And now we've just you know, made everything into that center, meshed it in. Okay, so that's fine the way it is. Now what we want to do is let's bring the cylinder back in, and the reason why, and also let's get the, you know, reference out of the way. So the reason why we've done that is because now we want to scale, well, we want to use proportional editing to move this into place. So we're just going to select the head, and with the head selected, let's just get these points, for example, activate proportional editing and just move. But you can see it's just moving the whole mesh, so what you need to do is just press the scroll, you know, turn the scroll wheel around until you can see the circle. You can see that circle, which allows you to control the level of the proportional editing and how much it's actually editing. So you can see I can pull this out probably around there. Also, my screencast keys are off again. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull this out like that. Again, it's not gonna look too pretty, but it's not meant to. It doesn't really matter how good or bad it looks like. We're just going to play around with these details, ensuring that the head here, you can see I want to ensure that we get the we cover the cylinder, like I've said. Sorry, yeah, we cover the handle, and we also play around with this, you know, covering the blade and everything else accordingly. Once we've done all of that, and we're sure that we've sort of added all the landmarks that we needed to do, and ensure that our head, you know, our dragon head, it's got the geometry it needs to thrive, let's say. Okay, then we're going to be good to go. And you can see here that the handle is protruding through, and that's definitely not something that we want. So let's just ensure that we select these points and just go above the handle, and that's great. Okay, and let's just shade smooth. Yeah, I know how it looks, but don't worry about it, it's not a problem. Okay, now let's go back to our cylinder, which is the horn, and we're obviously going to have to pull this out. And again, proportional editing, increase the size so you can bring this horn closer to the handle like that, you can see. And you know, you just wanna play around with this a little bit and really get the shape right. You know, get a nice curvature in the horn itself. Maybe do like a rotation thing, you know, make it a bit more, you know, with style. Just bring some style in. Okay, and just rotate, bring it in, ensure that the horn is going inside the head. Yeah, maybe like that. And maybe we want to bring it out a bit more from this side, you know, just select it and just bring it out a bit more. Maybe do something like that so it looks nicer, yeah, overall. And you get a bit of dynamic in there as well. So maybe do something like this. I don't know, something to to make this horn be memorable. Yeah, that's the word. Okay, so I'm just going to add a subdivision surface modifier. Probably around that level should be fine. Yeah, it looks a lot better if we do that. It just makes it look a bit nicer. And now we can also add a mirror modifier, X and Z axis, not the Y axis. Oddly enough, doesn't seem to be working quite so well, and I'll tell you why. It's because our origin has changed. So set origin to 3D cursor, and now it should be fine. Yeah, and you can see how it's encased the shape over there. So at this point, we've got our mesh sorted out. We do want to add some more subdivision surface modifiers in here. For the head, I would keep it at simple level. We don't want more than that. The blade, don't add anything here. The handle itself, you may want to add some subdivision surface as well. Again, this will just help with the shape overall to look a bit nicer, a bit neater. As you can see, we do have a problem over here, so let's just isolate it and deactivate all of these nice and fancy modifiers, and just take all these edges from here and delete them. And then what we can do is just select these two edges, these two, bridge, 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 and now if we activate this, this is looking a lot nicer. Yeah, okay. One thing I don't like is this part over here, so I'm just going to select these two and right click and just say make sharp. Well, clearly that didn't work. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to, sure, make sharp would have fixed this, but let's just do edge crease. Yeah, make sharp is not what we need, and we need an edge crease. Okay, and that maintains the shape there nicely. Yeah, so I'm guessing this is about right with a low poly version. I think we can definitely work with this in ZBrush, and that's where we're basically headed to next. So as a final point of this episode, all you guys would need to do now is just make sure that you have the proper names for all this. So horns low, and then, you know, just select the head, for example. We say head low, and we've got everything in there now, obviously blade. And once this is done, you can export it as an FBX and import it into ZBrush. Now it's very important that when you do exports of this kind, so we've selected all the elements, we want to export them. When you do the file export FBX, just make sure that you've got the selected objects ticked on, and then in the geometry tab you've got apply modifiers, and this will automatically apply all the modifiers they have on these objects, which is quite nice, and you know, well, just that's quite nice. So dragon sword underscore low, and that's going to be what we're going to play with. Now, I hope you guys found this tutorial useful, and I hope you guys have learned something. This is, again, a very simple approach of making something like this. I'm sure there are better, more efficient ways of doing it, but this is my style, and you've seen the result that I got. Overall, it's I think it's a nice way of just you know, really getting a cool sword made, and just still able to properly texture it, you know, unwrap it. It's going to be quite simple to unwrap as well. We're not going to cause any sort of extra issues for ourselves without needing to. So overall, I hope you guys will, you know, have enjoyed this tutorial, and you will see me in the next episode once that gets released on sculpting this into ZBrush. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the content, so that I can, you know, this will make me post even more. So thank you for watching.